Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K. Welcome everybody to the May installment of Smash That Small Paper Pad with Deb Houck. It's a collab and there are a number of talented ladies participating in this collab, and our goal is to use as many of our small paper pads as we can this year. So each month on the 25th we are posting videos of how we are using or smashing up those small paper pads. And as long as the paper pads were smaller than 12 by 12, we could work with them. And so I've mostly been working with 6 by 6 or 6.5 by 6.5 paper pads. And last month I showed you guys the 3 paper pads that I'm going to be working with. Again, I usually choose 2 or 3 paper pads to work with because I get bored easily working with the same thing. So it gives me an opportunity to switch back and forth. But again, before I introduce any new paper pads, I will mainly work from these 3 ones, and then I'll pick another 2 or 3 to work from. And so I have made a little bit of progress on each of these pads. And then I also went ahead and added to this paper pad that I showed you guys last month. This is a My Mind's Eye, I believe, paper pad, and it's called Union Square. And this one, when I was going through my stash of papers while I was cleaning during the whole coronavirus thing, I found some extra sheets of this paper pad. I purchased a big pile of miscellaneous, and here's the pile of 6 by 6 stuff at a rummage sale a year or 2 ago. And so some of these papers from this collection were in here, so I went ahead and took them out and just added them to the pad so that I will go ahead and use them up. So this one I will be making more things than just the 24 sheets that it included, just to use those other ones up that I had in my stash. So that was one of the paper pads I worked with. I also worked with this Botanica Kaiser Kraft one. It's a nature themed one. And then this one that's called Be-YOU-tiful from Kaiser Kraft also. It's kind of a nature theme, but there's some shabby paper in there and some different papers. And I'm still trying to come up with something for this paper right here. So if anybody has any great ideas, let me know. It has a little bit of embossing on it. It's like a craft cardstock with some like iridescent black embossing on it. It's just not one of my styles of paper, so maybe I'll make a tag or something out of it. I don't know. That one I'm still struggling with. And I did work from all 3 paper pads this month, so I have projects from each of them to share with you guys. And so from the first one, the Union Square paper pad, the My Mind's Eye paper pad, I did create a bunch of cards. And in my stash, I don't have a lot of flat cards. Most of my cards I like to decorate and add embellishments and flowers to. But every once in a while it's nice just to have a card that's flat that I can mail and not spend a lot of money on postage. Just a little quick thank you or something like that. So I did decide to try and build my stash up of those types of cards. And so I did go ahead and create a whole bunch of those cards. They all open up this way. And I have left all of them blank, so I'm not going to open them up and show you guys because obviously they're all blank. But they all came from that paper pad. I did use various rubber stamps from my stash. If you have a question about a particular stamp, let me know. A lot of these Paris theme stamps that I use, I did purchase at a rummage sale, so I don't necessarily know what company they are from. They were just kind of in a baggie. Our local craft store does have a rummage sale every year where people can buy a table and sell products. And so someone was selling a Paris themed bag of craft goodies, and I purchased it because there was a whole bunch of rubber stamps in there that were kind of Paris themed. And so that's where a lot of these came from. But here is the first card that I created. And most of these I use the paper pad. My base is cardstock, and then I also use black cardstock. And also some cream colored cardstock. There's the next one. And what I ended up doing is just cutting a card or pieces for a card, and then I would try to incorporate the scraps into another card is what I was trying to do. I know this one's a Tim Holtz stamp, that one is. And then here's another one with that one. I like this one. It says, "Meet me at the Eiffel Tower." I think that one's cute. So those were cards. So I made 8 cards. The next thing that I created, again, as I was cleaning out my room and going through stuff, I have a ton of like chipboard board books that are this size a long time ago, and who knows why I bought so many of them. I must have like 10 of them. I bought them at Michael's when they had them in the dollar bin, and so I have like a whole bunch of these board books. So I thought, well, it'd be nice to make a little album out of one of them. And I did, again, other than heavily decorating the front, most of the pages are pretty plain. That way you can add a photo to them. And I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and give this to my mom or my sister to use for photos. And so there is the cover. And I guess before I show you the rest of it, this one did come from this paper pad, the Kaiser Kraft Be-YOU-tiful paper pad. Some of the embellishments were some of the cut aparts that this paper pad included, which I think I've cut. You know, there's some cutouts that come with it. So a lot of the little pieces come from that, or else just miscellaneous stuff from my stash. So there is the cover. I just did some paper layering, added some flowers. There are a wide variety of brands. There's Craft Supply for You. There's some Wild Orchid Crafts. And then maybe some that came from a little package from Michael's or something a long time ago. I have some flat back gems, and these ones I think came from Michael's. And on these ones I tried to leave like a tuck spot so that the photo could actually be put behind this little die cut right there. And then same with here too, the photo can be put behind this little item right here. And that one just says, the best things in life have to be felt with the heart. And both of these say the same thing. I don't know why I did that on both. I wasn't paying attention, obviously. And then I also, in my stash, I had all these little paper flowers. So I tried to use up a lot of those in this little album that I created. This one I just put a couple of blank cardstock photo mats in the little pocket so you could put the photos on those. This one I just left plain. I thought that paper was really pretty. This one kind of has a little bit of a shabby vintage feel to it. And then this one, I don't know, I might choose a different color. This is a little bright now that I look at it, so I might choose just a plain piece of photo mat for that one. But that one I just created a belly band that a photo could go behind. This one I just left plain. Yeah, the more I look at it, I don't like that green, so I'm going to just use maybe a vanilla or a cream colored cardstock to put in there, or a white one. And then on this one, there's another photo mat. And then there's a photo mat here also. So I can hold the pages up really close for you guys if you want to see what they say. And then the back side, I just put just another one of those little cut aparts. I figured if my sister or my mom were using this, they would be able to just write like a year the photos were from, or if it was from a particular event, they could actually write on there. So I made that little album, and this was actually quite a quick little project. This was just a nice little day project that I worked on. This went together pretty fast. And then using paper from this Botanica Kaiser Kraft one, and then I think I also pulled a couple sheets from this one also. This one had some green papers in it too, the Be-YOU-tiful paper pad. I created some, the next two projects are from both of those paper pads. First thing that I created was some little matchbooks, little matchbook notebooks, and then I added just some scrap graph paper into the inside. And then I decorated them up. Some of the decorations were from the paper collections. A lot of them just were from my stash. I had some digital pieces that I think came from Tsunami Rose, and also Ephemeris Vintage Garden and the Tracy Fox ones. And for these, if you guys do look on YouTube, you can look up little matchbook notebooks, and people do have directions on how to make them if you just want to make them. But I actually had a die cut from Spellbinders that I picked up at Tuesday morning. It's just called Matchbook, and the number is S5325. and it just has 3 pieces in there, and I just used the one main one to die cut them. It just went faster that way. Then I didn't have to score or anything. It was already done for me. So that was the first one I made. I love how that one turned out. The little bird on that one I cut out from a bird book. Here's a purple one. Kind of cute. Another purple one. And I just kind of layered some different pieces on each of them. And they all have that same graph paper on the inside, and it's actually some paper that I was recycling. One of the businesses where my dad used to work, they were architects, and they had all these graph paper notebooks, and it had their address and everything at the top, and then the guys retired and they were just throwing them out. And so my dad saved them, and so I've been using the graph paper in my junk journals, but they worked. I just had a lot of scraps of them left, so I just added them to the inside of my little matchbooks. So that's one of the other items that I created. And then the last thing that I did was create some pockets that can be used in junk journals. You could also use these in Happy Mail. And these ones were really quick and easy because you basically just folded over your paper. You could use a corner rounder and then a hole punch where you just cut out part of the notch right there. And I use my sewing machine to sew around it. And so now I can add them into junk journals and decorate them later. I did decorate a couple of them for you guys just to show you how they can be decorated. But it's just nice sometimes to have base pieces that you can use to add to your journals later on. But I could, like I said, I could also use these in Happy Mail. If I sent someone some die cuts or something, I could slip them inside of these little pockets. So there's a brown vintage looking one. Here's more of a botanical one. A green one. Then here's a polka dotted one, and this one actually had pink on it, but then I went ahead and I grunged it up by putting some distress ink around the edges, and then I did the orange thinking I could use it on a junk journal for Halloween, and so that's why I did the orange on there. Oops, there's another nice botanical one. I love that paper from Kaiser Kraft. And here's another black piece that I did the orange around it, thinking that would work good for a Halloween one. Here's one that has kind of a wood color on it. And then here's the 3 that I decorated, just to show you how they can be decorated. So this one I decorated this way, and the other 2 I decorated this way. Because if you put them in a journal, I'm not quite sure. These were kind of long, and I maybe should have cut them down a little bit, just because I don't make journals too often. This one's 6.5 wide, so I don't make journals that wide, the pages, too often. So I don't know how practical it'll be to glue it down on a page like this. But you can add them with paper clips. So that one, again, like I said, I went ahead and decorated it. Some of the items came from, like this piece right here was from the paper pad. This was just a scrap paper. And this came from something else, or maybe it came from the paper pad that I punched out. But these little things right here came from one of Tracy Fox's, or a couple of her digital kits. Here's another one that I did with more of a vintage feel. The perfect moment came from the paper collection. I did cut it down because it was wider and I just wanted a smaller piece. Not sure where the postcard came from. The image I bought from Tsunami Rose. They were bigger sizes, but I shrunk them down. And just some scrap music paper. But I do like how that one turned out. And then this one I kind of made so as a tuck spot. So if I wanted to add a tag behind here too, I could. And then here was the other one that I created. And this Live, Laugh, Love came from the paper collection. I just cut it down again. This image and that one I think are Tracy Fox digitals, and then this one's Ephemera's Vintage Garden. The birds, which I love that one, and again, their pockets. So thanks so much everybody for watching today. I hope you were inspired by a couple of my projects. And of course I do love reading your comments, so please feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions about anything, I do answer the questions. And sometimes it does take me a bit to get back to you all, but I do eventually get back to you. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Happy crafting. And also don't forget to check out all of the other ladies who are participating in the collab. I do have all of their links listed below in the description box. So again, until next time, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.